Thank you to Morris Arkletum for their generous donation on Patreon. If you would like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description.
A few minutes later, the never-ending fucking day, been recording for an hour and a half. Walking inside the building, I can't help from feeling a certain sense of enthusiasm watching over me. Nice to have some of my old sense of enthusiasm back. I truly thought it might never return. For someone like me who's loved tennis so dearly and for so long, the feeling that I was only going through the motions with it is really scary. Since I got here early, most of the students that are already here have either just finished getting changed or are stretching and warming up, or they're still in the locker room. I definitely don't want to linger around the lockers to chat with people because I'd be exposed to way more half-naked guys than I'd like to see, now more than ever. God, is that gonna have to be a new concern for me now? Worrying that I might out myself in the locker room? You better make sure to always stay down in the locker room, mister. He's talking to his penis. His penis is who he's talking to. He's talking to his possibly inappropriately timed erection. His penis. Oh, hey. Hey there, Cleveland-kun. Saya walks out from the females' locker room, looking around a bit before spotting me and bounding my way. Hey there. You're here early. Of course I am. I'm the club's captain. What did you expect? I guess that much is true. More importantly, though, how have you and Shokun been? Why does everyone seem so interested in us lately? Everyone? Never mind, not important. We've been pretty good. This weekend has been kind of great. It's a bit scary just how well things are going now that I think about it. I see us getting along greatly and enjoying each other's company, and I can't help but have a little siren blaring in my head screaming, "Run for your life, abandoned ship." Just have to do my best to ignore that annoying siren and we should be fine. Unless fucking Haruki goes right to Shoichi at practice and was like, "I know you fucked him." And then we get into a fight about having told him and then, Thanks. For what? Finally convincing Shokun to see Sachiko-san again. She's been really down the past few years about it. How do you know that? Have you been keeping in touch with her this whole time? Of course I have. Did you think I'd stop talking to a woman who had had a hand in raising me all these years just because Shoichi was feeling awkward about it? Jeez, when you say it like that, I feel a bit of a jerk and I didn't talk to her for so long. I can tell what you're thinking just from your look on your face, and I'll just tell you that you don't need to worry about it. Are you a mind reader now, too? No, you're just really transparent. You're feeling guilty that you didn't check up on her either now that you know that I still kept in contact, right? Well, everyone stop friggin' reading me! It's starting to get so annoying to be told this over and over. Imagine how it is fucking reading it over and over again. Come on, you don't need to look so annoyed. I will murder you. Bring it, furball. Now there's a smile. Screw you, Saya-chan. You worry too much. It's my job as your friend to make sure you stop doing that. You're an idiot. I love you. Oh, she's blushing. She's blushing. Whoa, her eyes just went all kinds of wide. Even her ears are going red. Did I just hear a rare Cleveland-kun I love you? Don't make me regret saying it. But you rarely say stuff like that. I think I've only ever heard it twice before. Quit it, okay? It's embarrassing to say stuff like this. It doesn't mean I don't feel it. All right, I won't tease you too much over it. I just make it even I just make it even rarer for you to say it if I did. Is that seriously the only reason? Shouldn't you avoid teasing me because it makes me uncomfortable and you want to be a good friend? Yeah, you'd think, but everyone in this game delights in being an asshole. Oh, here's the Christ. Ah, there you two are. A deep voice calls out from nearby, interrupting my conversation with Saya. Ah, Mikado-san, good afternoon.
Saya-chan, Cleveland-kun, good afternoon.
The crocodile flashes us a very toothy grin, placing both hands on his sides and nodding. Hey there, Kei-kun. You tagging along with the coach today? He said he needed the three of us for something.
What is it?
I have some news to share. As you already know, I keep in contact with some of our alumni. I've managed to convince a couple of them to come by for a little while to help the three of you train again.
Oh, is Kaito-kun coming over again? Is he?
Coach's smile widens even more.
Correct! I've been nagging them for a while, but they were giving me the runaround. This morning, I finally managed to seal the deal. They'll be arriving this weekend and will train with us for 5 days.
Whoa, really?
Yay! Kaito-kun is coming over!
That's pretty incredible. I imagine they would be really busy with practice this time of year. How'd you convince them?
It was hard, but I finally managed to win them over when I bribed them with free plane tickets and all expenses paid for an entire week. I also already checked with the school and was given permission to use the courts over the weekend.
That's amazing. I don't even know what to say. It must have cost you a fortune. I never knew Coach could be this generous. Of course, if you want to get the attention of a college student, all you have to do is flash a few dollars at them. They'll follow anything. They're poor as fuck. All this stuff, I can't believe he would go out of his way like this. Especially when he's being arranged so suddenly like that. When it's being arranged so suddenly like that. You kidding me? He's doing it because you got that offer. It's the whole reason he's doing it. I'm serious. I'd be willing to bet the money I don't have that that's the reason he's doing it. Coach bellows out a booming laugh, crossing his arms and leaning his head back while he cackles.
Ha 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 ha! Don't you worry about that. I just marked this as work expenses so I can deduct it from the school's budget.
Oh, never mind. I should have seen this coming.
Will any of the girls be coming over too?
And why did you why did you only call the three of us here? We had 7 players qualify for the next competition.
Yes, well, the other 4 already gave up on the special training back when we last had some players come over in April, which put me in a really awkward position with some of the alumnus that came over and just watched them from the sidelines as we didn't have enough players actually playing with them.
Right, I remember that.
A lot of players threatened to walk out of the club entirely, saying that week of special training was far too Spartan. I think at the end of it, only about 5 of us stuck through the entire time, and the other 2 that didn't even qualify.
Well, that said, I didn't invite any of the girls this time. Only Morisaki and Sasaki will be coming back this time.
Huh? How come? What about me then?
They'll be training with the boys. Last time you were already showing you were adapting very well to the girls and managed to beat them pretty often. Granted, none of them were ranked quite as highly as Morisaki and Sasaki are.
Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Although I will miss playing with Sheena-senpai.
Yes! And there's also the fact that I couldn't quite fit any more people in the budget without administration asking too many questions. But yes, mostly the first thing.
I've been keeping track of those 2 ever since the training week in April. Seems their ranks have also increased a bit since they were last here.
Yeah, Kaito-kun took part in the Challenger competition 2 weeks ago and climbed all the way up to number 212.
What about Sasaki-san? Wasn't he already ranked in the top 200s last time we were here? He was here? He's currently ranked number 161. Huh? Is it just me, or did that number not change all that much? Morisaki-senpai went up over 100 positions in the ranks. It seems there's a huge wall somewhere around the top 150. Getting somewhere in that position is much easier than getting past it. So he's plateaued.
It's not that bad. It's only been 2 months. If he's still gone up almost 20 positions in that time, that's still steady progress.
I guess? I just have a hard time believing it, I guess. That guy's was so incredibly overwhelming to play against when he was here. It's difficult to imagine him struggling to climb the professional ladder when that's the image I have of him. Which probably just means there are way more amazing people than him out there. The thought is terrifying. Suddenly a huge hand plops itself down on my shoulder, staring at me, startling me, and nearly making me jump.
Okay, well, that being said, let's move on to the next order of business.
Hang on, shouldn't we discuss details about the guy's stay here? When we'll practice, how many times, that sort of stuff?
We can leave all that stuff for later. There's something else I need to deal with first.
What's that?
I have a little bit of an experiment I want to perform.
A what?
It sounds super dangerous. Wasn't anyone else reacting to it at all?
Cleveland-kun, have you and Sayaton ever played against each other?
Huh? Us? Well, not really.
How come?
We play in completely different leagues, so we never thought there was a point to it.
Is that a question or a statement?
Coach chuckles, a high-pitched noise that almost comes out as a whistle, very different from his usual laughs.
Really? So you're telling me you've never been curious about it? Not even once?
I guess. I never thought about it before, I don't think.
Why don't you think about it now?
Wait, are you saying we should play against each other? Now?
Oh, I think I get it.
The crocodile places his enormous hand on top of Saya's head, flattening her ears and petting her.
Very good, Sayaton. Now how about we let him figure it out all on his own?
Okay.
I really don't get it. I'm supposed to play with Saya? Why? I mean, she's
Yes, she's a what?
Yeah, Cleveland-kun, go on. Finish that sentence. What am I?
Oh, Christ. Oh, boy. Things are getting a bit dangerous here. I suddenly feel like my life is being threatened. Is there any point to this?
Why do you seem to think there isn't?
Don't get me wrong, okay? I know Saya is an amazing player. She's much more successful in her league than I am in mine. But that's the thing. The two of us are in a completely different league. We'd never compete with each other.
So you don't think there's any point practicing against someone you wouldn't compete with?
Well, no. Why would there be? Practice is supposed to be a way of preparing yourself for the real thing. There's never going to be a situation where I'm going to be seriously competing with a girl unless I decide to play mixed doubles. And I'm not really interested in doubles.
That's too bad. I think it'd be fun if the two of us played doubles together.
No thanks. I'm a solo player.
Let me tell you right now, you're being far too short-sighted.
Huh? Did he just insult me or something? How am I being short-sighted? Female league and male league are different, fundamentally different. Female players don't play the same way as male players do. Play styles are completely different. Barely anything I might learn here will be applicable to a match with other guys.
So?
What do you mean, so? That's my whole point by itself.
Up until now, you've only selected your training partners by looking at other players you wanted to get accustomed to playing against, or ones who played similarly enough to other competitors so that they could be used as a stand-in, haven't you?
Keikun looks away uncomfortably, making me suddenly feel very self-conscious and crappy about that. Yeah, I've never really been one to have training partners in the first place. Sorry, Keikun.
Which is why I'm saying you're short-sighted. You only look at the immediate benefits of training with someone. Will playing against them now help me beat them in the future? Or will playing against this person help me in the future against another rival? That's how you've thought until now.
I nod, knowing these words are correct. I have no shame over it in the first place. After all, what's the point if I have nothing to gain from it?
You can always learn something from your opponents if you are willing to. It doesn't matter their skill level or what league they compete in. That much is a fact. It's a fundamental truth that you've never learned until now due to your own selfish nature.
My what? I'm not a selfish person.
Oh, is that a fact? I wonder what your friends here might think of that.
Huh? Oh, those fuckers. Coach takes a few steps back, putting both his hands on Saya and Keisuke's shoulder, pushing forward ever so gently towards me.
Well, how do I put this?
Coach is a bit...
He's not exactly wrong.
Huh? There's no way. I'm not selfish. I'm just trying to help my friends as best I can. I'm always trying to help my friends as best I can. I'm not a selfish person at all. You're
You're a really good person most of the time. Even after your personality started warping a few years ago, that much never changed.
My personality warped? I mean, I guess I became a bit more introverted and sarcastic over the years, but it can't be that noticeable that you would call it warped, can it? Could it?
But ever since I've known you, you've always been really selfish. Only when it comes to tennis.
Huh? I agree. I know I haven't known you nearly as long, but I spent a long time looking up to you and wanting to play with you. And you kept refusing me until you were either forced into it or decided that you could benefit from it.
But that's normal, right? Why would I go out of my way to do something that...
From the look on your face, I'm guessing it still hasn't clicked in your head. Well, it's not like that selfishness is in and of itself a problem. The problem is that it has currently placed itself in front of something you need to realize.
Is there any reason why we're all being cryptic about it?
Because if we just told you, you'd ignore us just like you have for the past few years.
I huff, suddenly feeling very annoyed at this whole charade. I shoot K-kun a look, trying to see what he has to say about it.
Don't look at me. I have no idea what these two are trying to get at either.
Coach places a hand on top of Keisuke's head, doing to him the same thing that he did to Saya a few months ago, smiling awkwardly at the hair.
I'm sorry, Keisuke-kun. This is a lesson you've yet to learn as well, I'm afraid. And one yet you might not like.
But what's that supposed to mean? Okay, at this point, I'm both annoyed and confused.
Cleveland-kun, your attitude towards tennis so far hasn't been necessarily wrong. You are right that as a future professional, you should always be looking for ways to maximize your gains from training. The problem is, your way of doing so has actually limited you heavily.
Go on.
I believe to a certain level you've already begun to understand it, although not fully. When I called Morisaki and the others here a few months ago, I thought for sure that would be the push you needed. It certainly started the process off, but it didn't quite work as well as I'd hoped.
You people are seriously starting to annoy me by talking in circles like these. Either I'll agree with you or I won't. Making me jump through all these hoops to understand what you're saying isn't going to change anything.
I want you to play against Sayaton. I believe she has a very important lesson she could teach you. One you couldn't learn if you were just told. It's something you need to experience for yourself.
Fine. I'll play along with this game of yours, but I'm seriously pissed off right now. I feel like this whole thing has been nothing but an excuse to criticize me.
I'm just looking out for your best interests.
Funny hearing that from the lazy coach that did nothing to help me for the past 2 years.
Hey, Cleveland-kun, that's not...
Mikado raises a hand in the air, cutting Saya off before she can finish her sentence, suddenly staring me down with a glare that I've never expected coming from him. It's enough to make me shiver.
Either you'll understand it or you won't. But it's something you need to realize for yourself in order to proceed as a player. For now, a single set should be fine.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Let's just get this over with.
Jeez, you could try not looking so unhappy about it.
It's your guys' fault for pissing me off in the first place.
You two warm up for a little bit and then get to the court. I'll be the umpire for the game.
Sure.
Ouch. You really don't look happy at all.
I'm not. I'll walk away to a nearby bench, dropping my bag on top of it and grabbing a few things from inside. My racket, first of all. I feel like I'm clutching it so hard I might end up breaking it from how annoyed I am right now. I perform a few warm-up exercises, nothing too strenuous so I don't end up tiring myself out before the match. Just making sure my body is limber and prepared for it before we begin. I need to risk injuring myself. A few minutes later, Sai and I both get to the court, walking up to the net opposite of each other.
Should we toss a coin to decide who serves first?
Sure, let's go with that. You can call.
Okay, here it goes. I call tails.
She quickly walks up to her bag, grabbing a coin and tossing it in the air. I watch it spin multiple times before falling on her hand, with Saya-chan closing her hand around it almost immediately. Let's see. Slowly opens her hand, peeking inside with a near childlike curiosity. Stares back at us as the head side of the 100-yen coin.
Aw, bummer.
Guess I'll be serving first.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
You don't have to look so pleased with yourself when you just lost the coin toss. What are you being so happy about? We take our positions, preparing ourselves to start. I hold the bowl tightly in my hand, bouncing a few times on the ground. When I look forward, Saya is already prepared for my serve, hunched forward, her knees slightly bent and ready to spring into action at any moment. I toss the ball, leaning back and raising my racket, making sure to engage all the muscles in my lower back so I can move with as much explosive power as possible. As soon as I hit the ball squarely with the center of my racket, I already know it's going to be a great serve. Oh, Jesus. The music is really kicking in. Oh, God. The ball flies towards Saya's side of the court with great speed and power, aimed right on the edge of the paint for a wide, flat serve. However, in true Saya fashion, she reacts instantly to it. The serve that makes most players in my category stand there watching in shock for the first few times is received the bunny girl standing across from me. What? Is received by the bunny girl standing across from me in the court. There's a lot of typos in this fucking day. Sure, her return was weak and imprecise, but she still got to it on her first try. For some reason, that pisses me off way more than it usually would. I dash forward, preparing to intercept the ball that is now coming up short of the baseline. When I reach the center of the court, I plant my feet firmly on the ground, hitting the ball as hard as I can to open space on the other end of the court. Or at least it should have been the case. By the time I looked up and prepared myself to hit the ball, Saya-chan had already managed to recover and was dashing back into position on the center of the baseline. Without missing a beat, she runs to the spot I aimed at. Gah! Although she barely managed to hit the ball, she lobs it high towards the backside of my court. I can tell at a glance that I won't be able to reach it even if I jump. I'll need to run back to get the ball. While it's not a particularly difficult position for me to reach, nor is there any risk of the ball scoring her a point, it's enough to make frustration surge inside of me. Damn it! I run back to intercept the ball, cursing under my breath over how she's already managed to completely nullify the advantage I had from my serve. Because of the extra time it'll take for the ball to come down from being so high up in the air, Saya-chan has more than enough time to reposition herself and recover. I should have already expected this. I knew this sort of thing was bound to happen. Despite her aggressive personality most of the time, the more serious she is, the less offensive she becomes. It's something that rarely comes up, since very few players can force Saya-chan to be into being serious in her category. Against weaker players, because of the huge difference in skill level, there never comes a point where Saya-chan struggles to score a point. Because of that, her real playstyle isn't seen all that often, but in reality, Saya-chan is a defensive player. She might be incredibly strong for a girl, but her strength still isn't on par with mine. My strokes are stronger, I'm faster. I should have every single advantage granted to me due to my better physique. Despite having all that strength, she doesn't rely on it. Instead, she plays a very slow game, where she returns balls to the worst possible spot constantly, always making me run from one side of the court to the other. A very orthodox style of defensive ground strokes. It's such a waste for someone like you who's been gifted with strength that stands out so much in your category. I think we're getting closer to the point. So why? Why? Why am I getting so frustrated? I'm stronger. I'm faster. My technique is just as good as yours. The only thing you have over me is that demonic stamina of yours that loses to no one. It's why you can even play such an exhausting style of tennis in the first place. You can afford to take as long as you want, since your opponents will always tire out before you. But that shouldn't be an issue. It's my serve. I have the advantage. I was totally in a great position as soon as we started the point. Your posture crumbled twice in a row before before that lob let you recover! Exclamation point. I should have a clear advantage here, so why was I already expecting this? I was supposed to have the advantage. I know I have the advantage, so why am I not surprised that we ended up in this position? Why was I so sure that you'd managed to hang in there from the get-go? I hate this. I hate this style that keeps relentlessly returning the ball to me no matter how hard I hit it or how well I aim it. Stop it. Just stop it. I can't stand it. I hate this feeling. Like I'm just hitting a ball against a wall over and over again. Just stop sending it back here. Just stop it already.
Out. 15-0.
Got so frustrated I hit the ball way harder than I should have. I didn't control my stroke at all, and the ball ended up flying right into the back wall. Don't look at me like that. Get back to your position. Saya nods, quietly doing as she's told without a single word. Why am I getting so angry all of a sudden? No, I was already angry when we first started. This isn't fair. If they hadn't angered me so much before we started this match, I wouldn't have lost my temper. Take a few deep breaths, taking full advantage of the time I have before serving to stabilize myself. Once I calm down a bit, things progress much better. Saya, she still clings stubbornly to each and every ball. Scoring is a chore. Takes so long to get through every rally, way more than it should.
Game. Mizuguchi. Count 1-1.
Just holding on to my serve is already exhausting, and yet Saya-chan holds on to hers like it was nothing. Why? You and I have been together all this time. We've trained together for years. We've watched each other grow. I know you better than anyone else. So why do I feel like there's such a difference between us?
Game. Mizuguchi. Count 4-2.
You and I were supposed to be equals, weren't we? That's what we always told each other. So why was it that deep inside I was always so afraid of playing against you? Why is it that I seem to be getting pushed further and further back by you?
Game. Mizuguchi. Count 5-2.
What do you have that I don't? A few minutes later.
Game, set, and match. Won by Mizuguchi. Count 6-2.
You take quick, shallow breaths, struggling to even stay on my feet. On the other side of the court, Saya is also panting, though nowhere near as much as I am. At some point, the courts became incredibly silent. Most eyes fell on the two of us, watching Saya and I play with great interest, watching me be demolished by her. As soon as the match ended, I walked off to a nearby bench in a daze, my eyes focusing nowhere in particular. Cleveland-kun...
Mizuguchi-senpai, please play against me as well.
Ooh. You don't care about us no mo.
But... Your match against Grover-senpai was very informative. I feel like I might figure something out if I play against you right now.
But...
It's alright, Saya-tan. Leave this to me.
I'm vaguely aware of Coach's presence walking up and standing right next to me. He stands idly for a few seconds, probably staring down at me. Can't really see anything other than his feet since I've covered my head with a towel.
Could you tell?
Tell what?
What kind of player Saya-tan is?
I've always known what kind of player she is.
Really? And what is that?
She's a defensive baseliner. Her stamina is way off the charts. Her ground strokes are very precise. Her reflexes are...
No! That's not what I'm asking.
Then what do you want from me? I throw my hands up in the air, snapping at him much more aggressively than I intended to, looking up at the crocodile in an attempt to glare right back at him. But instead of a glare, I see him looking down at me with a gentle smile, his brows slightly furrowed.
Cleveland-kun, you've begun to notice it. I know you have.
Notice what?
What kind of player Sayaton is.
I already answered that!
You didn't answer right.
Then what the hell kind of answer do you want from me? Just tell me so we can be done with this crap!
Cleveland-kun, when you were playing against Sayaton, how did you feel?
How did I feel? I felt annoyed. Having to suffer through those endless rallies was exhausting. Do you have any idea how frustrating it is to feel like you're hitting a ball at a wall? Yes, he does.
And how do you think Sayaton was feeling?
How the hell should I know? She was probably having a great laugh at me, given how much she was smiling during the entire match. She probably found it hilarious how much I was struggling so much for no reason.
Do you really think Sayaton is the kind of person to think that?
I do. I don't think that's all that she was feeling, nor do I think it's what she's actually feeling according to this, but I very much do feel like she's the kind of person that would just take any opportunity to fucking laugh at us, because that's all how she fucking acts. Who cares? The whole thing was pointless anyway.
Why?
I'm starting to get really frustrated with this guy. What's with all these fucking questions? Didn't you annoy me enough for one day? Aren't I feeling miserable enough already? What the hell more do you want from me?
Why was it pointless, Cleveland-kun?
Stop repeating yourself. I heard it the first time. Because! What's the fucking point in playing a game you know you can't win? Huh? What did I just say just now? Huh? I didn't think I could win? No. No, I didn't. From the start, I didn't. I was scared of playing against her. But why? Why couldn't I win again?
You tell me. What's the difference between you and Sayaton?
She's much better than I am.
Do you really believe that?
What do you mean, do I believe that? We both saw it's true.
Do you really believe the reason she beat you is because she's better than you?
What other reason could there be?
Cleveland-kun, what do you think was the difference between how you were feeling during the match and how Sayaton was feeling?
How was she feeling? How am I supposed to know? I'm not a mind reader. From the look on her face, she was probably enjoying herself, but why was she enjoying herself? It must have been because she was winning, right? But even though the difference in score was that huge, it's not like I was helpless. Every single point was close. In fact, I came very close to scoring many of them. I just couldn't. But why couldn't I? What does that have to do with anything? Saya-chan, was she enjoying herself because she felt like she was being challenged? Yeah, that was probably it. Saya-chan doesn't have a lot of competition left in Japan. She's already been reigning over the female league for the past 3 years with no close contenders. But the difference between us wasn't that huge to begin with, was it? Our match was really close, yet the points total doesn't reflect that. Wait. Wasn't I being challenged as well? Wait. Why wasn't I enjoying myself? I'm sure I should have been. The difference between me and Saya-chan... Is that why I wasn't enjoying myself? That can't have been it. Why wasn't I enjoying myself? Could that be it? A challenge. Challenges are fun because they make you work your hardest and think seriously about how to surpass them. Surpass them. How to surpass Saya-chan. Wait. Did I even think about that at all? But I wasn't thinking from the start that I couldn't win. If that's the case, did I think for even a second about how I could manage to win? That can't be right. That has to be wrong. After all,
always enjoyed a challenge. Ever since I was a kid. Didn't I love playing against players stronger than me? Didn't knowing there was someone better than me excite me because it gave me an opportunity to improve? I'm sure I felt like that in the past. Does that mean at some point I lost that feeling? Why was it that I stopped enjoying the feeling of a challenge? When was it that I started to give up before even trying? Losing. Losing hurts a lot less when you've already accepted defeat from the very beginning. I'm sure I must have thought of that a few times before. But if that's the case, yeah, I'm pretty sure I noticed it a few times already. Lately. Like a bad omen that shook me to my core. The feeling of facing up to my own insecurity and weakness was so unpleasant that it made me want to forget it all. I've been ignoring it for a long time. But there were some people as of late that forced me to confront my own weakness. People who pushed me so far beyond my limits that my rational mind switched itself completely off and forced me to rely only on my instincts. My instincts. Instincts honed by over a decade of constant practice and dedication. When I needed them the most, they took over to help me deal with something that was threatening to overwhelm me. Come to think of it, didn't I get that feeling a couple times over the past few months? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. When was it that I felt that way? I think it was when I played against Yuya-kun during prefecturals. I haven't had to work so hard for that, for a win, in so long. It felt like looking at a mirror to the past, and I didn't like how different I was from the reflection I saw. Could that have been the trigger? No, it wasn't just that. I've been aware of my failures for years already. I was just in denial. Every time I looked at Aki, it was already like looking at myself in a mirror. Even if his style is completely different than mine, Aki has something that I've been lacking for a long time now. I've seen him laugh, cry, scream. All sorts of emotions were drawn out of him by his love for tennis. And I know that it's because of me. Just like Dad did to me all those years in the past, I passed my love of tennis down to Aki as well. Aki is like me. A lot more than I care to admit. He's the me that I was before giving up, even despite all of our differences. Watching Aki play was always painful for me, but I still made sure to do so to support him like an older brother should. And every time I saw him playing, I saw him enjoying himself from the bottom of his heart when he was losing. In fact, even when he was losing, sorry. In fact, it seemed he would enjoy himself even more the closer he'd get to losing. Yuya-kun, he was the same. Lately, I've been faced with new challenges that have slowly caused my old enthusiasm to return. Or at least, that's what I told myself. But being forced to face up to my own weakness hurts. It hurts too much. It's ugly, and I don't want to accept it. It makes me feel pathetic. Being put face to face with it, I went on the defensive and shut down. But it really did feel like I was on the right track for a while. Was this what Coach meant when he said I was already beginning to realize it? I see what it is. I wonder why I didn't notice sooner. It's such a stupid, simple thing. What I've been lacking. What I lost all those years ago. That pure-hearted pursuit of improvement over everything else. Since when did results matter? Wasn't the reason I played tennis in the first place because I wanted to get closer to my father? No, that's not quite right. That's how I got started, but that's not what drove me forward. I loved it. I loved improving. I loved giving all my all against other people who shared that same passion as me. Passion. When was it that I lost my passion? Saya-chan. What she has that I don't. It's the fact that she never hesitates, isn't it? Saya-chan only sees the challenges and defeat as a chance to improve. At some point, I really was the same. Wasn't that back when I first started being called a genius? If that's the case, what's a genius in the first place? People used to tell me that I was lucky to be born talented, that they never had a chance because they didn't have the same talent as me. A pretty lie, a convenient excuse, something to hide behind so they didn't have to face the frustration of defeat. If you never believe you can win, then it doesn't hurt as much when you do lose. I always hated it. It felt like everyone was dismissing the amount of effort I put into improving. If they hated losing so much, then why didn't they work harder too? That's what I did. I recognize it now. Talent truly is important. It is a thing that exists. I can't just shove my fingers in my ears, close my eyes, and pretend it doesn't. But I don't think that is what makes it genius. No. After seeing all these amazing people from up close, Aki, Saya, Shoichi, Yuya, Keisuke, Tanabe, Jun, both old and new. To me, a true genius is someone who can continue to enjoy themselves from the bottom of their hearts even when they are being pushed far beyond their limits. Someone who doesn't back down in the face of a challenge. Because no matter what field they're competing in, be it sports, music, anything, that single-minded pursuit of improvement, all for the sake of competing on a higher level than for a thrill. I used to be like that. I know I did. There was a point in time when I was the same as them. That passion that resists against all kinds of challenges, that makes you keep pushing forward just for the sake of seeing how far you can go. That's what separates me from Saya-chan, isn't it? That's what I lost. I want it back. When I open my eyes again, it suddenly feels as if my whole body has gotten so much lighter. Like a weight I didn't even know I was carrying for so long was suddenly lifted. I don't know if the answer I came to is the right one. I probably won't know for a long time, but maybe that's fine too. Maybe there is no one right answer. What matters is that this is the answer I decided on. And I want to try seeing it through. Just one last time. It's fine if I try it one last time, right? Facing Tanabe-kun all those times and coming up short each and every one of them, it was such a shock to my core. I couldn't understand how something like that had happened. The ego I'd built up after years of being hailed as number one. Even though I never used to care for appearances like that, I got used to constant praise. And when it was no longer there, that messed so badly with my sense of self that I broke down. It's not like it's a switch I could just flick on and off at a moment's notice. Even if I came to this realization, it's not like that's going to fix all my problems out of nowhere. When I faced Morisaki-senpai and when I faced Yuya-kun, Both of those times gave me a tiny hint to what I was missing. But falling back on old patterns is all too easy. A trap that I'm guilty of and getting snagged on many times. It just means I have to be more aware of it this time. And if I get lost again, I'll just be a little bit more aware of it next time. However many times it takes, I'll take it one step at a time. What I can do right now and what I'll be able to do in the future, those aren't the same thing. I have my limits right now. Of course, I can't suddenly become as good as I want to be, but just because I feel like it's too far off, that doesn't give me an excuse to give up now. If I never start working towards a goal, I'll never be able to reach it. The distance will never shorten. So I'll do everything that I can for now. Hey, Coach?
Yes.
What should I focus on improving right now? Coach smiles widely at my words, looking down at me with eyes filled of pride.
Are you ready to work hard for your next competition? There isn't much time left until then.
I am, actually. It's been a while since I looked forward to something this much.
That's great! I'll watch your matches with Morisaki and Sasaki very closely. I'll use the information I'll gather from them to figure out what you need to work on before your next competition. And if you start slacking off again, I'll hit you over the head with a racket.
Thank you, Jim Cornette. Sounds good to me. Make sure to hit extra hard if that does happen, please.
Boy, don't tempt me.
Now I'll have one extra reason to stay motivated. Physical punishment is always the best of incentives. Oh God, my entire body hurts. I got so excited today that I ended up not pacing myself properly at all. I probably really overdid it. I need to learn to control myself a little bit better. I either do nothing or do way too much. I need an in-between. As I'm leaving the gym building on my way home, I see Shoichi leaning against the wall as soon as I step out.
Ah, there you are.
Shoichi, what are you doing here?
I was waiting for you to come out. What else does it seem I'm doing?
Okay, I'll rephrase. Why are you waiting for me out here?
I wanted to see you. Isn't that a good enough reason?
I shake my head, trying to resist the urge to laugh. I guess it is. Just wasn't expecting it.
Well, I didn't get as much time with you as I was hoping for since you didn't come back before lunch ended. So I wanted to talk with you a bit more. We didn't speak much last week either. All I got was a bit of the weekend to spend with you. I was getting pretty lonely.
Aren't you exaggerating?
Maybe a little. But who cares anyway? Do you want to walk home with me?
Sure, I'd love to.
Okay. Why don't you tell me how practice was on the way home? You seem awfully chipper right now.
Oh, jeez, I don't even know where to start. Kind of a lot.
We have time.
All right. So, as soon as we got to the building today, Coach gathered us all together to give us a little bit of news. I relate the events of my day to Shoichi on our way back home. Although he doesn't talk much outside of offering some commentary on the things I tell him, he seems otherwise content to just hang back and listen to me talk. He seems particularly pleased when I tell him about the epiphany I had earlier today, agreeing emphatically with my thoughts on everything. I don't tell him about the scholarship offer, wanting some more time to think about it on my own before telling him, if only because I know how pushy he'd be about trying to get me to accept if I did. Overall, though, Shoichi and I have a very pleasant walk back home before we eventually have to part ways. Dun da da dun da da dun da da dun da dun da da dun da da dun the end of the week do 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 day 29 do 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 day 28 took for fucking ever, but you know what, it was cool anyway. Damn. So
That hit a fucking nerve with me. I don't want to go into all of it, but yeah, I feel good. I don't know where to go from that. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Tennis Ace. On the next one, it'll be day 29 of Shoichi's route. If you want to follow me on all my other social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, maybe Instagram, definitely not. Snapchat, I do have it. They're all linked in the description down below, along with a link to, I technically have a merch store. It's Zazzle. It's like that website where you customize your own shit. So it's not really a merch store. It's more of a... I haven't updated in a long time. I need to do that. But that's there. Patreon, of course. YouTube memberships. They're all down in the description down below. And in the comments, please let me know, what is your favorite color? I for the longest time, I grew up thinking my favorite color was emerald green. And it's still at least in the top 5. But lately, I've been really enamored with the color blue, specifically like a navy blue. Really like that. Probably my top 3 in no particular order: navy blue, emerald green, and black. So yeah, let me know what your favorite color is down in the comments down below, along with whatever you thought of this particular episode. It probably got split up into numerous episodes, especially since my microphone is doing the stupid fucking thing where it cuts. There'll be like a moment where my whole setup like shifts for a second, and then OBS will just stop receiving audio from my microphone. I don't know why that happens, but whatever. So I had to cut at some point, which sucks, but whatever. Thank y'all very much for watching, and until next time, I have been the trained unprofessional, and you are not. Stay safe, everyone.